Good morning, flight simmers. It's 6:30 in the morning, and I am sitting here. Switch over to the airplane. Sitting here at Baghdad International, and planning to fly to Tbilisi, Georgia. That's a relatively short flight, 667 miles. I didn't add any fuel since the last flight, so we should enter our onboard fuel here. Why not? Looks like we have... let's use the calculator. It's too early in the morning. Did that not work? There you go. Just takes it a minute. Or 3. Is there a reason you're not working, Mr. Calculator? Okay, well, let's close Mr. Calculator. There we go. So we got 2755 times 2. 5510. Oops. Fuel. On board. So there we go. So we have our onboard fuel. We're going to fly 667 miles. Usually I use about 1,000 gallons. Sometimes if it's a short flight, I'll use 1,100. This is a pretty long flight. So I think we should be okay with, it's going to amount to about 900, right? Let's do Mr. Calculator again. So if we take 5510, divide it into 667. Does that make sense? Yeah, so, no, the other way around. 5510. Oh, yeah, times 100. So 800 and some. We should be okay. We'll probably not have a lot of extra fuel, but that's part of the idea, isn't it, when you land? So I guess it's 800 and some gallons per 100 miles. All right, let's turn off the caution lights. I guess we should unpause this. Well, actually, let's pause it. And I'm going to explain what I've done. So let's come over to flight plan. I actually put in a SID this time. And I'm still confused by the whole process. And then I hear things that, I'm going to probably end up fighting with the the default air traffic control. I don't know if it's going to be a problem with this takeoff. So... they're saying fly to 1,200 feet and then climb to 5,300. We'll kind of see what the air traffic control says. I think I may tend to lean on the FMS here. If we go down to the end, so we got our whole flight plan in. I'm really and truly confused by this. This Baghdad seems to be a entry point into the airport. So... I'm not sure. You see, then it says we go 4.9 miles to it, heading this. Then there's all this, and then it repeats this stuff again. I'm not sure with the altitudes being different. I mean, I just followed through with the flight planning, so we got a whole bunch of stuff. Like, I'm assuming, we're going to land ILS on runway 31 left, so that's sort of an assumption. But we're just going to kind of see. It makes sense given the winds. If we come back over to here. And conditions. UGTB. Tbilisi. And we have a wind at 310. So it would certainly, at 24 knots, gusting to 34. I didn't notice that before. So we got a pretty windy landing. But it would certainly make sense that we would be flying in on runway, 31, which would be pretty much a heading of 310. So there we go. So that's, we're going to see what happens with that. But in the meantime, let me close this out and I will get started on my checklist, which means I have to open the document first. So this opens up any PDF file for us. Let's make that a bit bigger. This thing tends to get in the way of everything else I try to do. So hopefully you guys can read that, but let's unpause the game again. So in other words, we got our flight plan laying in there. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure how much the FMS flies it or if we're expected to. But let's get this and shrink it down so you guys can see our speed at times. It's a little hard to read these when we're not. All right, so let's do Shift E. And that will close my... Then this thing gets in the way of clicking these. Open that back up. Alright, so let's come up and put our main bus to the tie position. Position lights, we'll turn them on, which is this switch. Let's make sure our parking brake is on. It is. Let's pull our throttle back to disconnect since we know that we need to do that. And we'll put the control lock on since it should be on. And batteries. They always are on when they start up, especially through the air hauler. Radio control. Let's turn that on, get them warming up. It says request ground power unit. It's already hooked up, and then you want to check that you're on external power, which is, oops, like I said, that check sheet seems to get in the way no matter where I put it. So there we go. So external power on. And then they want us to turn MDF1 to systems, door system. And what that does is show us that our door is still open. And then they tell us to, because it also switches this MDF2, you would, if you want to get rid of that, switch it to nav and then back to systems, and you get your electrical systems back up there. And so we move on. Alright, so we want to check the altitude. When we load it up with air hauler, it gives us where we're going. So we'll check Tbilisi Airport, Tbilisi, I'm sorry, I'll say that right eventually, 1,600 feet. So we'll put our landing altitude in here of 1,600, 24, oh, we're only off by 1. So that's about as close as we're going to get it. And we want to note the runway heading, well, of this airport. Let's check ATIS. I haven't done that yet. Well, we're jumping ahead, but not by much. Let's keep going down the list for now. Just starting to do things on my own. So let's go switch the engine ignitions to normal. Let's turn our recirculator fan on. Let's turn the lights on. It's a little bit dark in here. So the recirculation fan's on. We're going to switch the bleeds to minimum. We're going to turn the air conditioners on and up a little bit so it's not like a meat locker in here. There we go, 19 degrees Celsius, wonderful. Let's turn on our fasten seat belts and no smoking sign. And where are we at here? Fuel cutoff. So fuel condition levers are off. I'm not sure if there is a fuel cutoff switch. I imagine there is, but I'd usually just put the fuel condition lever off there. Though that might not be what they mean by this. Alright, so side demisters are over here. Turn them on. Or open them, I should say. And are we going to need a pushback? No, we had a glitch with the last landing. The air hauler puts you right back. So if you notice, we didn't make it to the gate because when we tried to taxi over there, it just like flipped the airplane up in the air. So I'm hoping I don't have an issue just taking off and getting out of Baghdad. It's probably some issue with FTX Global or the mesh or something. I'm not sure, but hopefully we get out of here no problem. So we're not going to turn our nose steering off. We will put our spoilers to the taxi position. And there we go, flight taxi switch. So yaw damper. That's just below our autopilot switch here. We'll turn that on. And then the anti-skid is this switch right here. So let's keep going down. Control lock, we flip that on. Power levers, disconnect, which is basically no throttle. And condition levers to fuel off. So see, this is where I mean, like, I guess I can hit Control Shift F1, but I don't know. Alright, so another thing we want to do is come down here and check our trims, which come default when it starts up the plane, much like the battery. So with this, the only way I know of in this plane to change it is with my joystick, but I can move it up or down. I can put it to completely neutral. This is the takeoff position. I'm not sure if you should have it up that high or not. So the other thing I like to do is put about 6 right rudder in here. The plane pulls to the left pretty severely, and that helps dissipate that a little bit. And there we go. So now we want to check ATIS.
Baghdad airport information.
And we'll see which runway we might take off of and get our barometer set. I'm going to turn off this yoke for a minute.
Temperature 37.2. Altimeter 2988.
2988.
Runway 15 left hand. Visual.
Alright, so there we go. And we've got 2 barometers in this plane. Get that turned down.
Left and runway 15 right.
So we seem to be 15 right or 15 left. So let's tune to ground just to shut him up a bit. And we have our knee board up here open still, so let's go to Baghdad, to come down a little bit. There we go. So 15 is actually 146 heading, so we'll put that heading in to our navigation heading, so that when we do switch on the autopilot, we're in good shape. And I also believe that's part of the SID that we'll be trying to do here. Okay, so I think I can close this now. So we know our airport heading. We'll eventually get our altitude. Okay, but then again, I'm not sure how much the flight management system will take over there or not. So let's check ATIS. Altimeters are set. Enter route. We've done all that, like I mentioned in the very beginning. So this is our route, flight plan. And enter fuel. Again, I think we did that. Oops, that's page 2. Go back around to page 1 and put this fuel on board. You can put in this other information. I haven't really gotten into that, but this is just by putting in the onboard fuel, you'll get this performance calculator and kind of know if you're running out of range. Alright, so now we want to get clearance. Contact ground control for clearance. So here is... Oh, you know what? Let's go back here. It seems that flight planner, IFR, high runways, find route. That's not the route we want. Let me load up the last one that I made. Should be all up here, date modified, here, open. Yeah, that looks like the one right there. Let's save that. And then let's click OK. No.
Baghdad airport information. Okay.
And why isn't it letting me choose a IFR? So what did I do wrong? So look at that. It keeps switching back to this other one. Let's try... No, not that. Let's hit load from this screen. Not that I think it should matter. Maybe it does. Find route. Very interesting. So this is the part where, yep, see how this looks different. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that, but I don't like it. Yeah, keep switching back to this. So there's something fighting my loading that. Even though it seems to appear to like it, it then switches over to this. So we will just request taxi and depart straight out, I suppose. Or actually, we're going to depart to the east, so let's do that. Request taxi, depart east.
Ground, Romeo, Echo, Victor, Echo, Romeo. Request taxi for departure to the east with Yankee. Romeo, Echo, Victor, Echo, Romeo. Taxi to and hold short of runway 15 right via taxiway. Contact tower on 118.9er when ready.
So we'll put in 1,200 feet on our altimeter. Let's acknowledge taxi
Hold
clearance.
short runway 15 right via taxiway. Romeo, Echo, Victor, Echo,
So we're not getting an option for IFR clearance for some weird reason, and it's switching us back to a different thing. So we'll put this to 1,200 feet. I'm not sure if we'll see, it says manual here. I'm not sure if we'll have to change that up to 5,300. Let's see what the FMS does. I'll try to get switched to that real quickly. Alright, well anyway, so we're having ATC problems already. We haven't even, you know, gotten off the move from the runway yet. Figures. Alright, so show kneeboard again. Enter squawk code. Well, we don't get a squawk code, but it should be 1,200, correct? So let's put the squawk code on 1,200, I suppose, for now. Yeah, and I've spent hours trying to figure that out, but I have a firm belief, and I may even go right into a second flight after taking a bit of a break and fly up to Moscow from Tbilisi and see if in the meantime, I'll try to even maybe get a new air traffic control program. So we entered our squawk code of 1,200, and I'm going to hit the go around button, which is right there, and you can see that brings this up here. And we're going to put our nav source to FMS1, which is this right here. We are going to put the runway heading in, which we already did. Oops, can't hover over it for some reason, but it is on. You can't see it, but I know I put it. There it is, 146. We'll set the altitude to 1,200. I'm not sure if I wouldn't be better off putting. Let's put the 5,300. We're going to get up to 1,200 so fast. And again, I'm not sure if this is what you should do or not, but we'll do it anyway. Let's turn off these flashing lights since they're a little bit annoying. Set acceleration altitude, which is right over here. And I am going to just put it all the way up to 1,120, which would be 1,000 feet above this runway. Now, I'm not sure exactly what that acceleration altitude is for. So I guess it's the level that you are free and clear. I'm not real sure. We'll have to try to remember to set that to descent. It should be on the checklist. The descent will be much higher. It'll be like 2,600 since we're at 1,600 on the way back down. That'll be for an ILS landing. All right, so we have nav source, altitude, bug, MDA we just did, V speeds. With this plane relatively empty. This is at 104. And same thing with VR is 104. And V2 will be 108 if we happen to lose an engine on the way down the runway. Oops, I keep doing that. Oh, here, let's put this one at 108 and go back and correct the VR. Right. There we go, 104. So we have the V-speed set. Yeah, set nav aid frequencies. We're not going to use those. And let's close the doors, Shift E. And in a second we should see this red light go out there. Let's get our air traffic control back up. Bang. There we go. So now we want to switch MDF1 back to nav position. And that'll show us our thing. I like to... Let's see if we zoom in. Does this thing... we'll see what it does, but it doesn't seem to be pointing us to... I'll show you what I mean. It doesn't seem to have any special, you know, path through here. So I wonder if we have to do this part manually. Let's see what happens. And again, I'm not real sure. Like I said, I think this first step here is this putzy. Be this star. We'll see. Alright, so we're done that page. Contact ground and request startup, which I don't know how to do that. Doesn't seem to be an option. It must be a add-on that would give you better ground control. Let's get rid of that. So we'll just act like we have permission to start the engines. We'll put our anti-collision to red, which is the up position here. APU, we'll make sure that's off. We're not going to need a pushback, so we can go ahead and start engine 2. Let's make sure our flight controls are in the start position. There we go. And this is in the disconnect. And they're both on normal there, so let's go ahead and start it. And we'll get number 1 started in a minute. And then we can turn our external power off, cancel the GPU. And we do have our nose steering. We never turned it off. Good. There we go. Number 2 is firing up nicely.
Good afternoon,
the click.
ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of our airline, we would like
Let's
to
start up
welcome
number
you on
1.
board of our Dash 8 Q400.
Goes. Like I said, this thing will constantly be in the way, but it is my checklist and it allows you guys to see it. I don't have to look over at the other computer. Seems to be taking that one. It kind of doesn't look like the... Oh, there it goes. So now we're up to... So let's jump back in the airplane. There we go. So we have both engines at an idle. And so let's turn off our external power. We'll come down here and we can go to data. Again, once again in the way. Services, cancel the GPU.
The international safety regulations.
And so we are right here, external power off, cancel GPU, parking brake release when we're ready to actually taxi. After the pushback, turn it on, blah, blah, blah. So now we can put our condition levers up to maximum.
Path markings on the floor lead to these exits. Each seat is equipped with the safety belts. To fasten the seatbelt, put the 2 ends together. Tighten it by pulling the loose end. To unfasten the seatbelt, lift the upper part of the belt.
And I'm going to put the flaps to 10 degrees for takeoff. Make sure we see it over here on our indicator. And we want to turn the main bus tie back off. We want to turn the windshield heat to normal. We will turn our bleeds on, which is over here. Bleeds are on minimum. So we will turn auto feather on. We will turn the auxiliary fuel pumps on and the standby hydraulic system. All of these on. Nose steering is on. MDF2 to nav. I like leaving it on systems. I don't look over there for any kind of navigation, but if you were in, you know, in some terrain, you could put one of them on terrain and the other one on like the weather radar. So this is WX off. That's because I didn't put this in standby yet, which is saying put that in standby right now. So we'll go ahead and put it in standby, and then you'll see that reflected here. So transponder. So we are going to squawk on 1200. Yep. Since we're on IFR for the moment. Again, I can't select the VFR. I'm not sure why, but we'll figure that later. Arc radio control to FMS modes. We'll switch both of those over. I'm not sure if you only switch one, what happens, other than there is this switch that decides which side the plane is actually controlled from. So since we're in the pilot seat, that's where we'll do it. But I'm sure if the co-pilot was flying, then you would switch that. Maybe that just switches any functions of the radio control as well. We've checked the airport departure and taxiway and runway information. I'm going to rely on progressive taxi for us. And again, hopefully we don't have issues. I flipped up in the air and spun around in the whole 9 yards, and now I'm not seeing the yellow lines. Can we see them if we jump out of the plane? Yep, there we go. So let's see. Alright, so we gotta turn around, and we're pretty much at the runway. Oh look, our parking spot's not the worst. Looks like other guys are parked up there too. I don't think they're waiting for a flight. Let's get that behind the plane and then get back in it. Keep going down our checklist. Alright, so we are ready to taxi. Before we contact them, we actually did contact them a while ago, didn't we? So let's just get the taxi lights off. We'll turn the control lock off. Parking brake release, we'll do that in a second. Otherwise we won't move forward anyway. Flight controls check. Let's do that real quick. So if I pull back on the elevator, it goes up, down, left, right, the rudder, and we go to the left, go to the right. Wonderful. So flight controls are free, and they want you to check that your fuel is what's reflected in there. So pretty close. I could open that up. 54, and then I can see 27, 50, 45. Yeah, so it's real close. I guess that's if you sit there and idle. I'm not sure, or it's just a good double check. And we're ready to taxi out there. So let me get this moved off to the side. We'll get this open so you guys can see it a bit. No, I've already forgotten something. I want to hit heading here. So we got heading select, and then I want to put this on altitude select, and so we'll see what happens. All right, we're ready to go. Let's do a little bit of throttle so the reversers aren't on. And turn off the parking brake. And we'll start making a turn. So is that our message? Yes, taxi and takeoff. I gotta make sure we get that. Otherwise, air hauler, look at that. So it's got us going down the grass. See, there's something wrong with this airport.
Approaching.
So we're just gonna follow this yellow and hope that whatever happened on our way in, flipping the airplane all over the place. I know this is a little bit goofy, but I just kind of want to get out of this airport because it seems to be messed up from some mod I have or something. So we're doing 19. Let's back down on the throttles a little bit.
15 right.
It says approaching 15 right.
Approaching 15 right.
That's what we're supposed to be on, so hopefully this all goes well and we get out of here without incident.
Approaching 15 right.
look, there is a line, like, so there's something going on with this airport. See what I mean? We're following a line. It's, so even though we're on the grass, you know, this is the taxiway, I think, so it's got to be a conflict between FTX Global or the mesh I have, or some of these things started when I put the Traffic 360 mod in, so. Let's see. Get down here. I'm wondering if you know what? I have an idea what it may have been that I did. See, look at that. It's like the runway's in the wrong place. Hopefully we don't have a problem taking off. See what's going on here? So let's switch over to tower. Yeah, I think we're going to have to go down. Hello, Office 360 on the other computer. Let's go onto the runway.
Approaching 15 right.
Now we need our...
On runway 33
Yeah, so
left.
this is recognizing this is the
700 feet
runway.
remaining.
Now look at that.
600 feet remaining. 500 feet remaining.
Yeah, so there's something...
500 feet remaining. 500 feet remaining.
Yeah, see, once that happens, you're kind of done. We get turned around. No, it just won't let us. Yeah, let's see if we can just take off. Do we got our flap set?
Approaching
Yeah.
15 right. On runway 15
Yeah,
right.
come on. It won't let me. Now I got like way more throttle. I'm in some kind of goofy mode. I'm hoping to just be able to take off. But I got like way more throttle and we're not hardly moving. It's almost like we're underground here.
Approaching 15 right.
It won't let me turn. Yeah, there it goes. Now it's letting me turn to the right a bit. We're going to try to get down this runway if we can.
On runway 15 right.
I think once we get in the air, we should be okay. Oh, come on.
On taxiway. On taxiway. On taxiway. On
So
taxiway.
there's something wrong with the mesh or the something. Can we just get in the air from here? If we can just get out of here, I'll fix it with the next flight.
On taxiway. On
Yeah, but you're not
taxiway.
letting me. Let's see if we can't just get in the stupid air without crashing again. I'm gonna get up to 100. Right through that fence. Kind of crazy, I know. Alright, VR, pull back. let's see if we can't fly back around. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. So let's come over here, put the autopilot on, get our gear up, get our flaps up.
Traffic. Traffic.
Oh, shoot. So we got, let's get this. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, let's get the nose down.
Tower, Air
Let's
Force
get
3125,
IAS to
12 miles northwest. Inbound visual, runway 15, right approach. Air Force 3125, tower, keeping straight in, runway 15, right, altimeter 298.
Yeah, that was a complete mess, but
Right, Air Force 3105.
not vertical speed. IAS, come on, let's get this up. Put the autopilot back on. Altitudes. Oh shit, what is it going on here? This is not good. Alright, we're just going to have to fly the plane for a minute. Autopilot disengage. Alright, let's get the IAS to here. Okay, so we're basically at altitude is why I did that. Alright, let's fly the airplane before we crash it. Get IAS to that. Let's tune to Baghdad approach. Let's get the heading, select, autopilot back on. Yeah, let's see, I don't think that's going to work.
Echo Victor, Echo Romeo, 4 miles east
let's
of
turn.
Baghdad. Request IFR to Uniform Golf, Tango Bravo, ready to copy. Romeo,
Oh, that's
Echo
too
Victor,
much.
Echo Romeo is cleared to Uniform Golf, Tango Bravo, Airport as filed, squawk 4677.
Alright, we'll put it back on LNAV. Let's see what this. Why is it climbing up so much? Alright, let's set the altitude
Romeo, Echo Victor, Echo Romeo, did you copy?
to 10,000. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm just really having problems, but I will. Why can't I? It's
Romeo, Echo Victor, Echo Romeo, did you hear my last transmission? Romeo, Echo Victor,
Alright,
Echo
there we go.
Romeo, cleared to Uniform Golf, Tango Bravo, Airport as filed, squawk 4677. Romeo, Echo Victor, Echo Romeo, read back correct, radar contact 9,000,
Nav source, so we're on LNAV.
turn right, heading 045, resume own navigation, climb and maintain 13,000.
Alright, let's get rid of this lead board. Having a lot of problems with Baghdad Airport here. Alright, so let's do the flight plan. Yeah, see,
Romeo, Echo Victor,
we seem to
Echo
be
Romeo,
on.
did you hear my last transmission? Turn right, heading 045, proceed on course, climb and maintain 13,000. Romeo, Echo Victor,
Get our heading
Echo
back.
Romeo.
Bug around. But we seem to be on course now with the FMS, and hopefully it's close enough that he doesn't start yelling at us. I have a feeling we'll have a conflict there at some point. Alright, climb, maintain 13,000. Yeah, well, that didn't go very well. If you guys are just tuning in, go back and
Romeo,
watch
Echo
that
Victor, Echo
fiasco.
Romeo, please expedite your climb to 13,000.
We need to slow down a bit too. There we go.
Romeo, Echo Victor, Echo Romeo, please expedite your climb to 13,000. Romeo, Echo Victor, Echo Romeo, contact Tier Code Center on 1190.0. 025.
Well, we're out of Baghdad, and I have a feeling I know what happened to my airports. Let's give it more throttle, but also we're going to knock our prop
Romeo,
speed
Echo Victor, Echo Romeo.
down to
Time for flight
900.
plan is canceled. Radar service terminated. Squawk 1200. Maintain VFR.
Okay, you know what, that's probably a good idea. I'm just going to do my own thing.
Aircoke Center, Romeo, Echo Victor, Echo Romeo. This type Bombardier, 9 miles northeast of Zulu 15, Mike 11,100. Request clearance to transition Bravo airspace. Romeo, Echo Victor, Echo Romeo. Aircoke Center, Squawk 5612. Romeo, Echo Victor, Echo Romeo. Did you copy? Romeo, Echo Victor, Echo Romeo. Please acknowledge. Squawk 5612. Romeo, Echo Victor, Echo Romeo. Romeo, Echo Victor, Echo Romeo. Radar contact 6 miles south of Oscar. Romeo 0 Alpha 14,400. Cleared to the Bravo airspace. Maintain own aviation. Cleared to the Bravo airspace. Romeo, Echo Victor, Echo Romeo.
Alright, there we go, guys. We are, I guess, on our way. I have no idea really what happened. I would like to pause it for 1 second. And let's hit the desktop thing. Let's open this up. And I don't think I should do too much with this while we're... So this is the FTX Global. And we'll come to settings. Tools. Yeah, I forget what I was troubleshooting. Let's close that. Let's come back to here. Yeah, when I just get that thing there, I have to hit enter. There we go. When it comes to this screen, then I hit Alt Enter again, and it'll open up properly. And let's unpause it. Let's come here to Options, Settings, General. So I don't think we can change World, Scenery Library. See, in the past it said take this one all the way down. Okay, well, so I'm wondering if it's not, you know, something like this. Try it. can't get any worse than it is flipping the airplane up in the air and whatnot. So I might have to... Well, that's about a pain way to do it, isn't it? Move this add-on scenery down, just see what... Leave it just above the... Getting there. See, in this, you know, there's questions as about what order all that should be in. So let's just click OK. Hopefully we don't crash out. If nothing else, it'll kind of force them to recreate, I think. You know, now that might make it worse. We'll find out when we get to Tbilisi. What an ugly flight so far, huh, guys? Pretty bad. I'm worried about air traffic control, and my scenery's all messed up. At least at Baghdad airport it was. Is there anything to look at while we're waiting? No, not much. Just have to be a little patient. Ice detected, so let's put on our ice.
761, you are 600 below your assigned altitude.
I forgot the
Turn
pitot
right
heaters.
heading 315
Let's turn off our landing lights.
Level 400.
Off.
Grumman, uniform Delta.
Yeah, so with all that flipping around, we really didn't really go through our checklist, did we? Let's put this over to white.
Turn right heading 315.
And we'll turn off our seatbelt signs.
Flight level 400761.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your own safety, we instruct you to keep your seatbelt fastened during the
D-board.
entire flight. Please observe that this flight does not
After takeoff, gear up, flaps up. Autopilot is now engaged. Condition lever, bleeds flow to normal.
Altimeter 2990.
Ice protection, whoop, jump down. Autopilot on nav, we are. And we can turn off our standby hydraulics. Auxiliary fuel pumps, that never got on for some reason.
Traffic is 9 o'clock, 4 miles.
Let's get our air traffic control back on.
Uniform Delta.
Ice protection as required. Let's turn the weather radio on. It's on. Altitude chime. Lower down here. Logo and landing lights are off. Or wing inspection lights are off. Seatbelt signs off. We just did that. It's over here. And we can get ready for cruise. So we're at 19,000 feet, and we don't have our altitude select, but since we're off of the VFR, or on VFR, what I'll do is let's move this up to 27,000 now, and then hit altitude select. Climbing very nicely. Do want to take a look at the active sky next weather. Get rid of that because I don't think I need it for a little while. Hide kneeboard. Active sky next. Let's move this up here. Current active weather 298. Let's get this change that a little bit. So parameters are set. Let's go back. Let's just take a look at the winds aloft report. Make sure we're not flying up into some huge headwind. If we dropped a little lower, we'd be better off. Not really. I think the difference between here and 30,000, if you take the difference, we should have about a 20 mile per hour headwind. Right now we have 12 from the side. Not headwind, but from the side. And there we go. So nothing on the current winds to change our flight altitude too much. Let's take our heading bug over just in case we have to switch off at FMS real quick. And we come down here and let's change the range on this and turn it all the way up. Yeah, so we'll be flying this heading for a while. And do we have any cautions? No. Got the heater on. Doesn't say ice detected, but I do look. See, it does look like there's some ice on that one. AC control. That's. I haven't ever messed with that. So I don't know how you would turn on the pilot side or co-pilot side de-icing. There you go. See, now the window's real clear. I'm not sure if you guys can see the difference, but anyway. Let's see what our performance looks like. 37 extra miles, that's a good sign because once we level out, burn a lot less fuel and we should be able to make it there.
Hybrid Archer, report them in sight. Hybrid Uniform Delta, traffic is 2 o'clock, 4 miles, 10,000. Cessna Skyhawk, report them in sight.
I'm going to drop down our IAS speed a little bit, so we climb a bit faster. Down to 195, which will cause us to climb quite quickly at first, and then it should level back down once we lose that extra speed here. So we're up to 1.6, but once we get to 195, that should drop it back down a bit. Down, Ted. There you go. See, it went back down to 1.0, 1,000 feet per minute. But it's still higher than it was. We're trying to climb at a speed of 205. So let's take a look. Let's just real quick jump out of this. And now, no clouds reported, but it's just windy as heck there, Is there a way? Do I have to refresh that? Or local time 7:30. does this say? Oh, that's right, because it's I fast forwarded the time in the game. No, this should be the real time. I didn't change it in the air hauler. I do want to double check this. En route, good. Good. And we're almost up to cruise altitude. It's one of the reasons I have this open. I want to make sure we set ourselves with in the ballpark of 200 miles excess fuel. Let's make sure the fuel matches. Let's say at 45. What happened there? I lost my mouse. We don't seem to be moving. And did I just completely crash this time? Nope. Yep. Yes, I did. Well, so much for this, huh? A lot of problems. And I'll tell you what, my problems seem to have started as much when I put in that traffic 360. And I'm not blaming it all on that. I'm sure there might be a way of getting out of it, but yeah, I don't know what to say. So I may try to take that out just for having caused too much grief. Yeah, I don't even have it. Oh, there it goes. All right. Well, sorry about that, guys, but I'm going to cut the stream here, and maybe I'll try to get reloaded and back to where I was, or I don't know what to say. Just crashed out. I guess you could almost, I think the active sky cut off when the flight sim cut off. So maybe I'll try to see if there's some kind of a log file I can go look at. Well, once again, sorry about the cutting off the stream like this. And I should be back, but let me see how it goes.